Hello guys, so welcome to this video. So this video is about a little introduction to the serverless, and then we are going to do a small demo using AWS serverless services. So let's go to that. So when you talk about the serverless, it means you don't have to manage your servers. In traditional cloud computing, if you can see that if you are building your full stack application, then when you are going to host your application on the AWS, then you have to choose EC2 instances for the front end, back end, likewise. Yeah. So then you have to virtually you have to do some configuration to your servers, like you have to worry about your servers. I mean, you have to check your health in your EC2 instances, and you have to do some patching for that EC2 instances, and you have to update your operating system as well. So, and even if you are considering the high availability in your EC2 instances, then you have to keep uh, the EC2 instances in different availability zones for the high availability. So you have to worry about some things, but it's better to when we compare in the traditional computing, like in traditional computing, you have to worry about your physical servers. So there are so many engineers who are worried about who are configuring these physical servers. But in today world, when we come to the cloud computing, the traditional cloud computing way, so in this traditional cloud computing, even you don't manage the servers physically, AWS does that for that. So AWS do that for you, and but you have to manage your servers virtually, like the small things like operating system handling, and you have to worry about the health in your EC2 instances, likewise. So you are going to pay to the EC2 instances that you are going to use. So how about this? If there is a service, like you don't have to worry about your servers, you just have to worry about your application code. Yeah, application and code. You just have to worry about application and code, and then come to the AWS and then run your application code. So you don't have to worry about the servers behind them, because all the managing servers are done by AWS. So example of that AWS offering service is we call AWS Lambda. So this is what Lambda means. You don't have to manage your servers. So if you are choosing some AWS databases like what we call MongoDB or RDS, then you have to do some configuration to use those services. They are asking what is the RAM, what is the CPU that you are going to use. So you have to worry about your EC2 instances that running under those databases. So when it comes to serverless, you don't have to worry about anything regarding the servers. You just have to run your application code in AWS Lambda. So that's what serverless means. So in this demo, what we are going to do in here is like there are so many AWS serverless services like Amazon API Gateway, Amazon Lambda, Amazon DynamoDB, and we have Amazon SNS, SQS, and then we have the many things like CloudWatch, CloudTrail, likewise. So in here in this demo, we are going to using Amazon API Gateway, and the main AWS service is the Lambda, and we are going to use the Lambda, and then we are going to use the DynamoDB. So we are going to use these three services to build a small application, not an application. We are not going to build a front end for this one. So what I am going to do in here is I am going to update some data from the postman. So then it is going to call the API gateway. So which is like waiting for the front end API calls, like this. So if we can consider the API gateway as a front door to the AWS Lambda. So what API gateway does is it routes the all the requests, and it has many features like it can block some IP addresses, likewise. So for now we are going to use API gateway to route the request to the Lambda functions, and then we have the Lambda. So Lambda do the business logic, so you don't have to EC2 instances. So EC2 instance to do this, you have now Lambda instead of EC2 instance. So what we are going to do in here, we are going to run the business logic in this AWS Lambda. Then we are going to save those data coming from the Postman to in DynamoDB. So DynamoDB also a serverless database. It is also serverless service. So that is what we are going to do in here. Okay, so let's go to the demo. So in here, if you can see, first I am going to use the AWS Lambda service. So in here, I am going to create a function. So I click the create function, And then I am select the author from sketch, and I name my function like create user first, likewise. And then I am going to choose not just 24x, and that's it. So then I am going to click the create function button. So it is going to create the function. So okay, so it has created the function, and when you scroll down to the this one, in here you can see the provided the default function, default code for this lambda function. So this is just a hello from lambda. If you want, you can test this. So I am going to test it. So create a new test. So this is test one. This is test one, and I'm going to save it, and I'm going to invoke it. So in here output log, you can say hello from lambda. So my lambda function is working. This is the default code that they are going to the AWS is the AWS has given for us. So and then I am going to open my VS Code, and in here this is the code that I am going to run in here. So in this code, if you are carefully looking into this, it says like if event.http method equal to post. So that means if post method is coming, if post API REST call is coming, then I am going to create a user. So in this function, if you are carefully looking into that, I am passing item. So in here I am passing the body that coming from the API gateway, and then take it that body as an item. Then it is going to save that in that table. Okay, so this is a code that you can figure out what is happening in here, and I'm going to not talking about that. So I copy it, and I'm going to AWS, and in here I'm going to paste it. Yeah, so after the so when you paste it, you have to deploy it. So I'm clicking the deploy thing. Okay, so then I am going to create my API gateway. So I am searching API gateway. So this API gateway. Okay. So in here I am going to create API, create a API. So this opening. So in here I am going to create API. Uh, I am using REST API, so I am going to build that one. So I click new API, and my API name is like, let's consider this as what testing user, likewise testing user, and these all things are as it is. Then I am going to create API. Sorry, I forget the security policy. So I choose the security policy, and then I am going to create API. Okay, so I have created the API code. So then I have to create a resource. Yeah, so resource path is this one, and resource name is like testing users. So I have create the resource, and then I am going to create a method on this. So in this demo, we are just going to show the create user. Yeah, likewise. So in here for the create user, it is about post method. So as you know, and I am going to turn on lambda proxy integration, and that's it. So then I am going to create method. So it's the integration valid, but it has happened. So in lambda, sorry, in lambda I didn't choose the lambda. So in here I'm using the create user first. This is the lambda that we have created recently, and I choose create method. So it's successfully created. It is successfully created. In here you can see the flow. Yeah. So it is successfully created, and then in here I have to deploy this one. So before the deployment, it says that this action is not while the API is updating. Okay, we have to refresh the page. Yeah, now we can see the deploy. So I click this post, and I'm going to deploy the API. and choose an option, new stage, maybe called like prod1, production environment. So I'm going to deploy that one. So then I have the invoke URL in here. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to open the Postman in here. So I'm going to paste it in here and save it for the moment. And okay, now I have to create the DynamoDB tables. Okay, so we have created the Lambda function, and then we have created the API gateway. Then we have connected that API gateway to the function. When we're creating API gateway, we choose this Lambda function, and then we are going to create the DynamoDB table. So So in this table, we are clicking the tables, and I am going to create a table, new table. We call it as, let's call it a testing user table. Yeah, testing user table, and then it's better to show like this, testing user table, and okay for now. And the partition key, I am choosing user ID as a partition key. I hope these all things you know. And then I am going to create the table. Okay, while it creating, I am going to lambda function and I'm going to refresh. And then in here you can see the create user first. So then I'm going to do this function. And if you carefully consider the code in here, so let's wait. So in here, if you see the code in here, so in here we are passing an environment table called table name. So we have created a table called testing user table. So I am going to copy that one. And when it comes to lambda function, in this lambda code, it is using environment table. So when it create the use in that table, it use this environment table name environment variable. So we have to update this variable in lambda. So to do that, we have to go to the configuration, and in environment variables we have to click edit and add the environment variables called table name, and I have pasted that our DynamoDB table name in here. Yeah, then I click the save. Okay, so I think not 100% correct, these are things. So for now it has completed. For now I am going to invoke this one. Okay, so I am going to I go to the postman, and in here I have to choose the post because that is what we have we have created this call in API gateway, the post method, and this is the invoke URL. And if you see carefully in here in API calls, in API gateway, go to the resources. In here, our name is like testing users. Yeah, testing users. So I go to the postman, and in here I have to do this one, testing users. Yeah. So then I am going to create users. So for that, it need uh, payload a body part in here. So I type like use ID. I type like uh, use ID, which is our partition key. Let's say it is one, and then name like John, and then maybe favorite sport, maybe sport like cricket. Okay, so now we are going to send this one. So let's see the error, because error should be come. In here you can see this lambda row. So this lambda is not authorized to perform this action on resource on this. Yeah. So that means we our creator lambda doesn't have the permissions to the put that item on the DynamoDB table. So we have to do that one. So how we are going to do that one? So when it come to this, we have to go to the lambda. This is our creator lambda, and in here permissions we can find the role name. So I am going to open the role that attached to that lambda function, and in here, okay, we have to look at the policy. In here you can see the policy, and I am going to edit that policy to give the permission to that lambda to put item in the DynamoDB table. Yeah. So in here I have to add this one. I copy and then I'm going to add this one in here, paste it. So what is the error that we are getting in here? It's better to move it to this desktop. So what is the error? It's not authorized to perform DynamoDB put item. This is the action. So this is the action. What's the resource? What is the resource in here? This is the resource. So that means this is the AWS Lambda that we are using in here. So I'm going to copy and paste it in here. Okay, there is error because of this comma. Now everything is perfect. Okay, now I click the next button and I do the save changes. So okay, this is my DynamoDB table. So for the moment, if I click explore table items, for the moment there is nothing in here, but I am sending from in here. I have to wait for a moment to update that policy. Let's see. I click the send button. Yeah, I think it has worked. Yeah, let's go to the DynamoDB table. Refresh this one. Yeah, it has worked. Yeah. So and let's do another post request. Cricket, and then what we can say, maybe job, maybe hobby, script writing, maybe not the technical script writing, it's all about like movie script writing. Yeah, so then I'm going to click the send button. Okay, I think it has updated. Let's check it in here. Yeah, we have that one. Use ID 2 cloud transport, likewise. So this is what I wanted to show you. So this is the thing, but in I want to mention, like, in today world we are not using these kind of manual settings to build our serverless architecture on the AWS. Not only serverless, when we want to build the architecture on the AWS, then we are not going to usually we are not going to do that in here, in I mean AWS management console. So now we are moving to the script writing, we are moving to the automation. So now we have CloudFormation and we have Terraform to do that. We write down entire architecture on a one template and then we are going to run it. So when we are going to run it, it is automatically create the architecture on the AWS. So instead of doing this doing this. Like I manually go to the Lambda function, click it and create a Lambda, and then uh, I am going to choose API gateway services in the console, and then I go to create a API. Then I'm going to download it. Like I have to manually do all these things, which can make mistakes maybe, and which indeed this took a long time to do that. But today we have the automation tool, infrastructure as a code services, CloudFormation, and Terraform. So using those, we can write down all in one, and we are going to run that script, and it is going to automatically uh, create the cloud infrastructure for you. So that's the thing, and I also going to use AWS serverless framework like serverless framework and AWS SAM. So I'm going to use those two services to show you that how we can automate this thing using automation, using infrastructure as a code as well. It's will be in next videos. So this is I'm doing these projects for my learning purposes. So if you can share some insights, or if you can share some mistakes that I have done, I am available to listen to you. Thank you very much.